What is up, gamers? This is Proto, and welcome to another episode of Like or Dislike, where we look at some of the latest games that come out. I give you a synapse of the game, I tell you what I think about it after putting some time into it, and I do a pros and cons at the end to help you decide if you want to pick up the game or not. And today, we're looking at Now There Be Goblins. Now, a big disclaimer before we get into this game is in early access, so it's still being developed, so keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting the game or not thinking about getting the game. Now There Be Goblins is a VR hack and slash game mixed with some tower defense skills set in medieval times. Now you play as a blacksmith that works for the king, and they have you make statues of himself across the land. But goblins are on their way to destroy them, and you have to stop them from doing that. Apparently you're the only person that can stop them. Now you have a variety of defenses that you can build to either block their path and attack them along the way to the statue. So that's where the tower defense part comes in. Now the defenses can work separately or together to cause devastating damage and funny scenes. And believe me, the rad dog faces in this game are hilarious. Now, if you want, you can jump in and fight them off yourself. And the interesting thing is, when you get close to the goblins, they'll focus on you instead of going after the statue. So if you time it right with your defenses, you can actually hold them off in certain areas and let your defenses cause extra damage on them. Now you won't catch all the goblins' attention, but you get a good variety of them. But you have to be careful because they're strong in groups. Now, to defend yourself, you have a hammer that you can get different versions of with unique perks and funny effects when you use it on the little guys. Now your hammer is tied to you, so you can throw it like Thor's hammer and pull it back to you. And it was too much fun, and it was beyond funny just doing that alone. Like, there were some matches where I literally just threw my hammer back and forth because some of the hammers have different effects, so all you gotta do is hit them with it. So you could throw the hammer or hit them, and if you pull it back, it'll hit them coming back. And I thought that was hilarious. Now you can use the goblins' weapons that they drop, but they break down after time, so keep that in mind. At the end of the day, your shield and your hammer will never deteriorate, but their weapons will. Now you'll also have items in certain areas that you can use. For instance, when you're in the mine shaft area, there's dynamite around. You light it, throw it, and boom, and it is a funny effect. Now before each run, you will have time to build defenses, repair and upgrade defenses, and look for additional weapons to use. Now you can repair and place defenses during battle, but sometimes it is chaotic. When you got them coming from 3 different paths and large groups coming, sometimes you don't have time to stop and decide which one you want to put down or exactly where you want, because they have areas of effects. That's why you have your build time to really set up your defenses. Now I'd probably use some of my time to repair them if I knew they were low at the time, but pretty much I did all of my building, upgrading, everything during my build time. Now right now you only have 4 different areas to play in, each with their own level of difficulties and different paths to defend. So when you choose each one, you'll choose the map, and on the map on the table it will show you the paths that they'll come by. Now each one has an easy, medium, and a hard, and a casual, and that just depends on the different waves. With more waves, more variety, stronger groups. So keep that in mind when you go against the medium and hard. But like I said, before you go in, you'll be able to choose all your weapons. You'll be able to see the path how they come, so you can set yourself up. And when you do your build defense mode, they'll show you arrows to show you the paths that they're coming, so you can see how you want to set up your defenses. So I think that was a great job on that part. Now you can unlock more defense types and weapons by just playing through the levels and ranking up with XP. Right now the level cap is at 50, but I'm sure it will go up with more items being added in the future. Now you have a decent variety of enemies, and it becomes more dangerous when you fight them in groups. Especially you have some that have armor on, some that have resistance to explosions, and it gets chaotic. It really does. Now if you played tower defense games before, you'll understand that part of setting up defenses, choke lines, blocking points. You'll understand that. If you never played it, honestly, it's not hard. You go through the tutorial, they teach you the basics, and then you just do trial and error. You find out which ones work best, where you want to set up your areas, and you're good to go. So the learning curve is not that hard at all. Now graphic wise, the game looks very nice and it ran very smooth. Now you have the option to either teleport or you can actually physically move, and I chose to physically move because it just moves faster during the game like that. Now, a nice touch that I thought they did was they give you a graphical setting choice, and I chose to run mine on Ultimate. Now, the only issue I saw when I was running on this is when I took my headset off for a long period of time and put it back on, it would stutter for a few seconds, but it would go back to being fine. And I think that's just the VR being on standby and then coming back on fully when you have the headset back on. Otherwise, the colors in the game are bright, they're beautiful, the controls are tight and responsive, the ragdoll physics, I love knocking them off the screen, knocking them in the air, it was hilarious. Seeing the explosions, how their bodies just launch everywhere. Very good job on the ragdoll physics. And pretty much all this gameplay you guys saw was being recorded using my Oculus Rift-S. And that's pretty much the game there. So that being said, let's talk about the pros versus the cons for our people that think about where they want to get the game or not. So starting off with the pros, the first one we're going to look at is the combat. The combat of the game is fun. It can be very intense when you have large groups coming at you from different paths, and a lot of times I'm out there defending. I don't usually use my structures to do all the defending. I like to go out there and fight myself, so it makes it very fun to use the combat because you're swinging. You can have 2 weapons in each hand and you can swing. Yeah, you can even use your shield as a weapon and knock them back, so I thought that was nice. And that goes into our next pro, which is the weapons. I thought the weapons were very good. They give you a good variety with the weapons for both defense and for you to pick up and carry and use. And it lets you play to your style, type of defense, type of weapons you want to use. So kudos on that. I can only imagine how much more variety they're going to give to us later on. And the last pro, and this is a personal one for me, throwing that hammer. I had so much fun just throwing that hammer, knocking them down, taking down big opponents with it. It is so much fun doing it. And doing it, throwing it, is actually not that hard at all. So you could just have fun making the challenge, trying to take down a whole level just throwing the hammer. So the pros done, let's take a look at the cons. The first con we're going to look at, you cannot move defenses. Once you place a defense on the ground, you have to either get rid of it or they have to destroy it. I thought that was kind of messed up, but that's kind of how most tower defense games are. Now, what's good about this one is you can pretty much put your defenses in almost any area, but once you place it down, that's it. So you got to make sure you have the area that you want it to cover pretty good. The next con we're going to look at, the game is repetitive. You're pretty much doing the same thing. You're stopping goblins from getting to a statue in 4 different areas. There's no real deep story. There's no puzzle solving. There's no quick time actions. You're just fighting goblins. So if you don't want to do the same thing over and over and over, granted, different areas, different environments, different ways to fight, at the end of the day, you're just fighting waves and waves of goblins. So if you get bored easily, that may knock you away. And the last con I have to mention, the game is in early access. So keep that in mind. If you pick up this game and you're like, that's it, there's nothing else to do, I wasted my money, keep in mind this game is early access. If you actually go to their Steam page, they have a timeline of how they're setting up everything. They've got it in 4 phases. And just reading that, they plan on adding a lot of stuff. But as usual, as a game in early access, it's going to take them time. They're going to be balancing new stuff when they bring it in, adding new areas. So give that time. This may be one game you pick up, play, and when they add new stuff, hop into it. Or you may want to wait until the game is completely out, which is perfectly fine. I like playing games in early access because I get to see everything being developed. I like to contribute to it if I can, give my thoughts on it, and I love that. So I definitely will be playing this. I maybe look into it again. I know I will be playing it on my own. But that's pretty much the pros and cons of it. And like I said, this is a review in early access. When the game fully comes out, I may do an update review and give you an overall review because there will be an end to this game. There will be an end final boss that you have to fight. But overall, I'm definitely giving this game a like. I like the aspect of it, the tower defense, the fighting them one-on-one, area of effects, damage, your hammer, throwing it like Thor. Those are all thumbs up for me, and I love it. I can't wait to see how much they add into this game, what they're going to bring next. Like I said, I may do a follow-up review when the entire game is out and give you guys my final thoughts on it. But let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, let me know. If you think about picking up the game, let me know. Or if you're not, let me know. And as always, if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I talk about stuff going on in the gaming and tech world. I do reviews of some of the latest games and tech that's out. I do top 10 new games coming out every month and so much more. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and my other social media pages so you can keep up to date with what's going on, and if you want to reach out to me. I love talking about gaming, so don't be afraid to hit me up. You can catch me streaming on Twitch, playing indie, PC, console, and VR games. And I probably will be playing this game on my streams on Twitch. So if you want to see this game being played in real time, you can see it there. But this is Proto, and I'll catch you guys later.